live streaming to?
My cousin Vicky in Windsor and our cousin Gail in Drayton Valley
Where's that?
Alberta.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure if any of our family's up yet in Saskatoon, but
Oh. I'm standing upon the seashore. As ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts off on the blue ocean. She's an object of beauty and strength. I stand and I watch her at length. She hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and the sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight. That's all. She is just as large and massed, hull, and spar as she was when she left my side. And she is just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There, she is gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to pick up the glad shout, "Here she comes." And that is dying. Welcome everybody, and welcome live stream. I'm honored to be your celebrant today as we gather to remember the full and the amazing life of Rena Dick. We stand here in understanding and in support of each of you and everybody that joins us on live stream who held this woman in love from the very second that you set eyes on her. Rena's adventuresome and often comical life came to an end after 91 years, 1 month, and 1 day of sharing her love and her laughter with countless that she met along her journey. And as you know, everywhere she went, she met someone she knew or collected someone that she ought to know. All of this week, you've been challenged to process what her passing means to you. And we all grieve in different ways, and we all grieve for different reasons. Today we gather because it's the first step in putting your pieces back together. Our hearts and our senses often feel numb after the loss of someone who played such an integral role in our lives. So for these next moments, whether you're seated right here in front of me or you're on live stream, allow yourself the grace to exhale and to just embrace all of the wonderful energy and memories that Rena's spirit brings to us in this room. Rena Pearl Dick was born March 25th, 1930 in Coatsworth to Hy and Laura Dibley. And you have to know, when your father's name is pared down to something that is so recognizable and friendly, that life's going to be delightful. Coatsworth was only Rena's home for a short time until they moved to Leamington. The world was her oyster until Larry showed up 11 years later and yanked a bit of that limelight out of her enjoyment-filled grasp. She ultimately learned to adore him, despite not being consulted about his arrival. And in that chapter of acceptance, She did free Larry's turtle, who managed to run away, a feat that kept her laughing the rest of her life. Larry went on to welcome his wife, Linda, into the family, and they were blessed to create many incredible and joyful memories with Rena. Now, the person that was rejoicefully calling out, "Here she comes," and the poem I read earlier was the love of Rena's life, Bill, who she exchanged vows with on June 21st, 1958, and has been missing since August the 27th, 2005. Their love was so powerful and so complete that she assumed the mantra after he was gone, "I don't need no damn man." When faced what was going to be ultimately living 16 years on her own. Today, Bill and Rena celebrate being together on what would have been Bill's 89th earthly birthday. Charlene is Sharon. Had a mother, I believe, straight from a fairy tale, and can feel comforted to know that they were the reasons their mother's heart beat so vibrantly that she was literally able to pause aging so she could continue to hide $5 bills and dodge her girls to avoid adhering to the 30-minute or $20 maximum casino code of conduct rule. When Stephen married Charlene and Joe married Sharon, they must have felt that they won the mother-in-law lottery. Vicki loved her Aunt Rena with her entire being, and she brought her husband Tom into the family to also feel the magic. Then came Heather, who celebrates her 3-year wedding anniversary with Rami next month. Her grandma loved her to the moon and back. That love had her dancing to Arabic music at Heather's wedding, sipping on Baileys to stay hydrated, and ultimately to remain utterly out of the know the next day when crime was being fought. Amy has a grandmother's nurturing spirit that she blossomed from to become the sweet adult that she is today. Black cherry ice cream with soul-soothing treat, and her upcoming wedding to Terry will be a timeless treasure, rich with a beautiful blonde angel lighting up the lens. Grandmas don't just say, "That's nice." They reel back, they roll their eyes, they throw up their arms, and they smile. You get your money's worth out of a grandma. Rena, along with her cousin Gail, were camping companions with Heather and Amy, not to mention the indelible gold fingerprints that they left on their hearts. So it's now my honor to invite Heather and Amy up to say a few words about their grandma.
We're just going to read your favorite poem. One night a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashed scenes of his life. I can't see it. For each scene, he noticed 2 sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to him and the other to the Lord.
When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand. He noticed that many times along the path of his life, there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed that it happened at the very lowest and saddest times in his life.
This bothered him, and he questioned the Lord. "Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I noticed that during the most troublesome times in my life, there's only one set of footprints. I don't understand why when I needed you most, you would leave me."
The Lord replied, "My precious, precious child, I love you, and I would never leave you. During the times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you.
I think that Grandma carried a lot of us too. She was so strong. And this is her carrying us now, and she'll always be with us. The best role model. And when we need her. Love you, Grams. Love you, Grandma.
Thank you, girls. The Dalai Lama once said, every day think as you wake up, today I am fortunate to be alive. I have this precious human gift, and I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to use all of my energies to develop myself, to expand my heart out to others, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all living things. I'm going to have kind thoughts towards others. I'm not going to get angry or think badly about others. I'm going to benefit others as much as I can. Rena embodied all of these words and all of these values. As a mom, she sought to fill her girls' lives with experience, with wonderment, and with one of life's most vital skills, being able to pluck up a ground ball or snag a pop fly descending from the sky. And even though Rena wasn't a fan of the water, she made sure that her girls could swim to safety if they needed to. When the family was young, Rena went along with her husband Bill's desire to dip a rod at Rice Lake or to get real crazy and head to Niagara Falls. She always has an eye out for everyone else's needs. And when she saw happiness, then she became happiness. Her travel fever was truly born in 2005 with a trip to Disney, which led her to being a voyager with the most adventuresome notions, heading to Vegas in your mid-80s and marathoning through 12-hour gambling tour machines that were calling your name, to not finding a man that could possibly have a house in Florida for her girls to winter in during the colder months, or to putting her rings back on when you're in Alaska, because who wants to winter there? And then finally having to do the Olympic sprint through the airport to get to the plane to head to Alaska were far more exuberant than her previous strategy of relying on a trip to the casino as a reward after a doctor's appointment. Sophia Loren was spot on when she said, when you're a mother, you never really are alone in your thoughts. A mother always has to think twice. Once for herself and once for her child. It's my honor now to invite Sharon up to say a few words.
Today we celebrate the life of our mom, or Reid, as I affectionately called her. She was also a sister, an aunt, a grandma, and a friend. She was 91 and lived every one of those 91 years. And I feel so blessed to have grown up with a mom like her. Our house was always filled with love, laughter, and people. Mom had a great sense of humor and always loved a good joke. I do not think there was ever a weekend at our house that was not filled with family and friends. I received a phone call the other day from our friend Tony, and she said she was telling her partner how our door was always open, it was never locked, and she could come anytime she needed. How Mom would sit with her for hours and listen to her and never once said to her, "You've been here too long, it's time to go home." Mom was just like that. Even our vacations were with family and friends, with Uncle Lair, Vicky, Uncle Gord, Aunt Marion to Rice Lake, and Niagara Falls with Aunt Hilda and Uncle A, except for once when we were young and we went to Saskatchewan all by ourselves, and we had the hardest time trying to figure out why Grams and Pa weren't coming too. Amy the other day said Grandma lived her life in thirds, and I never thought of it that way. But her first third was her time. When she was young and going to Coatsworth and staying with Grandma Campbell, going to the brickyard, her visits with Uncle Garth, Aunt Dora, Aunt Vera, and the rest of the Dibley family, and so many other great memories she used to share with us. And then as she was a little older, she used to tell us about hitchhiking to Detroit with her friends. She would have killed us if we did it, but she did it. And how much fun she had, and so many other amazing stories. She really enjoyed the first third of her life. Her next third was having us and raising us, which I think she enjoyed. I'm not really sure sometimes. She taught us how to play baseball, which I still can't catch a fly ball. She made sure we know how to swim and how to skate and how to bake, which I to this day still can't do either. Her last third was when Heather and Amy were born. And if I said, Mom, we're going with the girls, she was packed and ready to go before I could even tell her where we were going or what we were doing. She was game for anything if it meant time with them. She taught them to bake, which they both do an amazing job, and her traditional city chicken so that they could carry on the tradition. And she went on every adventure they have wanted to. After Dad passed, we worried what she would do, but she volunteered every day at Franklin Gardens and did so many day trips and adventures with Gail, and still worked a few hours at Parkdale. She was so busy, I think she forgot she had daughters, but she never forgot that she had granddaughters. It was a big step for her to leave the house she'd lived in for over 50 years and move to the apartment. But when she moved there, she had the time of her life. She made so many wonderful friends at Seacliff Heights. I was so thankful for her friends there, and when Mom had surgery on her hands, Lorenz Slock was there to help, and so many others knocked on the door and asked what she needed. At the beginning of COVID, I would get her groceries, spray down the handlebags with Lysol, put them in her walker, shove them through the door, and she would take them. She would give me her pill packs. I would fill them in the hall. And one day, this young guy I'd never seen before stopped and said, "Here's my number, here's my name. If your mom needs anything, call me." She liked everybody and everybody liked her. And when Mom was diagnosed with cancer, she said she had done everything she had wanted, went everywhere she had wanted, had the family she had wanted, and had no regrets. How many people can say they have no regrets? I hope one day I can say that. Mom, may you rest in peace. As you know, you are loved by us, by the girls, and by so many others. We love you, Mom.
Thank you, Sharon. Your mother is always with you. She's the whisper in the leaves as you walk down the street. She's the smell of certain foods you remember, the flowers that you pick, the fragrance of life itself. She's the cool hand on your brow when you're not feeling well. She's the breath in the air on a cold winter's day. She's the sound of the rain that lulls you to sleep, the colors of the rainbow. She's your mom's Christmas morning. Your mother lives inside your laughter. She's the place that you came from. Your mom's your first home. And she's the map that you follow with every step that you take. Your mom's your very first love. Your very first friend. Your mom's your very first enemy. But nothing on earth can separate you from her. Not time, not space, and not death. On March the 5th, a double lung cancer diagnosis was rendered to Rena. And all of you felt it ripple through your beings. Organically, almost, Rena had exhibited almost an immortality. From her feisty years at Parkdale, stocking and restocking shelves as she saw fit, until her late 70s, then volunteering at Franklin Gardens, taking care of those younger than her, only to wind that down when she was no longer able to drive, and taking a taxi was absolutely out of the question. This woman was legendary, and she was exquisite. On March the 10th, she moved to her second floor Seacliff Heights apartment that was chosen out of the parking lot debates where she was going to live, where she had a beautiful 5 years until she was going to head to hospice. Yet every move in Rena's life always seemed to be drenched with these aha moments. And Rena's close friend was in the same room that Rena was placed in just 3 months prior. As Rena's last chapter was coming to a close, she often asked, "When is Annie going to come and get me?" But in the meantime, there was a stupendous 91st birthday party thrown for her. It was all about chocolate cake, signs and balloons, her special recipe for city chicken, shrimp and potato salad, and all of you, bringing light to her life. Muffin, Rena's feline companion, sent Snowball, the pigeon, to watch over Rena and show her the power of what white angelic wings will do. Shirley, Rena's dear friend, passed away the day after Rena arrived, leaving Murray, her husband, to enjoy the horses that were coming to visit him. And when they did, the spirit of these animals became his gateway to join the loving bunch that were lining up to await Rena. On April the 26th at 7:25 a.m., Annie came. The rest were undoubtedly setting up some slots, pouring some Baileys, dusting off home plate and the pitcher's mound, and getting some caps and gowns out to properly celebrate Rena's 1999 St. Clair graduation from gerontology when she was 69. How else are you going to understand aging unless she studied it? Because at 69, if you routinely say, "I don't have to go and get my roots done," you're drinking from the fountain of youth. Mark Littman, a life coach, once said, "There will be a day that exists without me." And I know that. And when that day arrives, I want this world to have seen greater beauty because I existed. I want my life to have meant something. I want this world to be brighter. I want this world to be happier. I want people to have smiled more and to have laughed more because I spent time here. I want others to have seen and felt the uniqueness of my spirit. And if I accomplish that, when my soul does move on and my gift stays here and makes just one ripple, I will look down and I will smile. I will smile wide. And I think that your mom, your grandmother, your sister-in-law, your friend, your aunt is looking down at all of us right now with her big, beautiful smile, knowing that she did make many ripples in many ways, and she has gifted our world with love and light. So for everyone that joined us on live stream, thank you. I don't know how many there are, but we feel you. And to every single one of you here, thank you. thank you too so much for letting me feel your mom through you guys, because what a life. And I get to meet so many families, and every life has a story. But I feel enriched and inspired when I hear someone who lived 91 years, 1 day and 1 month, and knew how to live it well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly, for those kind words to the family. We're going to be preparing to make our way to the cemetery now. For those of you who are going to be driving in procession with us, I'll just ask that you drive with your four-way flashers on. We do have to obey the rules of the road, so if we get stopped at a red light, only go through it if you feel that it is safe. We'll be going slow enough that you'll be able to catch up. There's not that many cars today, so in a few moments I'll hand the urn over. We're going to carry it out to the front door. I'll ask the rest of the family to fall in behind. Thank you.